Hey, Andre, we got a lot to talk about in this week's TFL Car Chat. Thank you guys for joining us. As always, it's Roman and Andre. Where's Tommy?
Yeah, I was going to ask you, why am I here?
You're here because Tommy's on a program. He's driving Toyotas on the West Coast. So we'll be back to normally scheduled presenters next week, but for now, you've got managing editor of TFL Truck, so there will be some truck talk on this car chat.
A tiny bit of truck talk relating to SUVs, actually.
Yes. But we've got a lot. Look at this is our rundown. We got a lot to talk about, Andre.
Whoa.
A lot is happening, and this is going to be the Roman is Grumpy episode because, Andre, I am grumpy.
I'm going to shine some light, so I'm going to try to balance your grumpiness, but I also have my own grumps.
Okay.
I'm also grumpy.
We're going to be talking about what grinds our gears.
No, that's carish. No, we can't talk about what grinds our gears. Boils our brakes.
Boils our brakes. We're going to be talking about what boils our brakes.
Yeah.
And I want to say hello and thank you to all of our patrons.
Yes, this is live on Patreon.
Yeah, so if you want to get it first, head on over to patreon.com/TFLcar.
Exactly.
And thank you guys for joining us. If you have any questions, we will be happily answering them for you. So if you have any interesting things that you want to talk to us about, jot down your questions, and by the end of the show, we'll answer them. But let's start with my grumpiness, Andre.
Okay.
And
what's the first topic?
This is something I've been talking about and thinking about a long time. I don't understand the Mustang GTD.
You mean the most amazing, the most powerful, the most technologically advanced Mustang ever?
The most expensive Mustang ever is more where I'm going with it. So as you know, Ford has built, and I say that once again with air quotes because really it's Multimatic that built the new Mustang GTD. And the Mustang GTD is ostensibly a competitor to the Porsche 911 GT3.
Okay, so I was actually fortunate enough. I was in Detroit when they first unveiled the GTD Mustang. Mm-hmm. So I was really psyched, and I saw one of the pre-production cars in person, and I was pretty excited. I wasn't quite sure what it competed against. In my mind, it's a car that was kind of an answer to the C8 Corvette, because Chevrolet, and they're very competitive, right? Ford and GM.
Except the GTD, this is where it gets sticky, is $200,000 more, Andre. $200,000 more.
Well, it starts at like $350,000, right?
And when you spec it, it can easily get to $450,000. And correct me if I'm wrong, but the Mustang has always been kind of the people's muscle car / pony car / sports car / muscle car, right?
You're not wrong.
It started out as a Ford Fairlane.
Yes.
First year, 64.5. It sold like gangbusters. And mainly those were the V6
Well, these were affordable, smaller cars that looked good, right? They were approachable for a lot of people. Like my wife's family back in the 60s, her grandfather bought actually several original Mustangs. I mean, he fell in love with that car.
Yes, and according to published reports, there's only 3 parts that the current Mustang GT actually shares with the GTD. This is a vehicle that was specially built to go on the racetrack, to compete directly with some of the best Porsches out there.
And best racing cars out there.
Yeah, and I get that, but I don't understand why you had to go with the Mustang for that. Ford has, of course, done this before. They've done the Ford GT, which
is a purpose-built
race
supercar.
Yeah, and they've done 2 versions of that. But that goes directly to the lineage of racing at Le Mans, racing Formula One, back when Ford took on Ferrari. So there is a lot there. But the Mustang, Andre, in my mind, has always been, like I said, the people's car. And I don't understand why Ford is now trying to compete directly with Porsche instead of, let's say, Corvette, which to me seems like the more natural. Now, there's other things about it that I don't like. And I've seen it a bunch of times. I saw it at the auto show. I haven't been behind the wheel. Other journalists have, which is fine. This is not sour grapes on my part. I don't do track work, so that's fine. But
Cole, can you actually do an image? Sorry to interrupt.
No.
Where they show the chassis, like the engine and the tunnel go up a little bit. That. So that's pretty interesting. Yeah, keep going.
Well, let me tell you kind of the things that are weird about it. First and foremost, it's big. I mean, it might have a footprint approaching the F-150. It's also heavy. I believe it's 500 pounds heavier
Yes.
than the regular GT.
So I don't know exactly how long the GTD is, but I know the weight. So the curb weight on the GTD Mustang, I just looked this up, is just over 4,300 pounds, which a regular Mustang GT V8, we actually owned one recently. That's about 500 pounds lighter than that, about 3,800. So I agree. I am also gaining weight in my age. So the lighter you are, the more high performance you can be. Right?
Exactly. And so you would think that a high-performance car would actually be smaller and lighter instead of bigger and fatter, if I'm being honest.
Well, that's an American way, isn't it?
It is. We eat a lot of hamburgers. and the other thing that I think would kind of, we just bought a Chevy Corvette ZR1. And that was built.
Who bought?
We did. A C4 ZR1.
Oh, yes.
Not the new ZR1.
I was like, you did what?
The C4. let me clarify. The C4 ZR1.
Fourth generation.
Yeah, for $27,000. Not for $200,000.
Okay.
Yeah, that's a little above our pay grade. But that Corvette is powered by an engine that was developed by Lamborghini and then built by...
is it Lotus?
No. Marine...
Oh!
No, sorry, it wasn't developed by Lamborghini. It was developed by Lotus. At that I'm thinking of the Viper. So the Corvette engine was developed by Lotus because at that time GM owned Lotus and then was built by Mercury Marine. And what happened was when they did that, it really chafed a lot of the Ford engineers because they were like, hey, this is...
GM engineers.
Yeah, the GM engineers. This is our car. Why is Lotus developing the engine for this? Why is Mercury Marine building it? And basically, it kind of poked the fire under their butts and made them develop what became the LS engine eventually. And so I would think if I'm a Ford engineer and you're working on the crown jewel in the Ford family, at least for sports cars, you'd be kind of bummed out that really this is a Multimatic product and not a Ford product.
Well, it has a Ford badge on it.
It does have a Ford badge.
Or a Mustang badge on it,
but it's really
too.
built in Canada.
But I understand
and
it.
developed and engineered. And I think, like I said, I think it shares 3 parts with a regular Mustang. So there's just a lot of things about it that don't feel like Ford. They feel like somebody's side project, or maybe we're at a moment in time when these highly expensive cars are the way you make money in the auto business. But it doesn't feel like something that Henry Ford would be, doing. I thought always Ford was, when we make affordable cars, we pay our employees a living wage, right? This is what Henry Ford established so that they can afford the cars. But now we're building $450,000 supercars that are contending for Nürburgring records. And it just doesn't feel like it's the right brand for this kind of a car, especially with the Mustang name. I guess I wouldn't be so upset if they had called it something else.
Like the GT?
Yeah, and when the last generation Mustang came out, you could get the GT500 for over $100,000. I actually drove that car, but I didn't have a problem with it because it felt like it was still a Mustang. It was the ultimate Mustang. But then to go from 110 or 120, which is what the GT500s were, if you spec'd them out with carbon fiber and got all the bells and whistles, to 450,000. Now we're in a completely different world, right? We're in Ferrariville and Porscheville, and it just doesn't feel like Fordville. And I guess that's the bottom line that really kind of rubs me the wrong way.
Okay, well, let me shine a little bit more cheerful light on this.
Just a little. I've had my say.
Okay,
you have your say.
So you have your position, right?
Yes.
So I get a lot of what you're saying, but what I think if I could peek, into the minds of Ford leadership here, and the Ford team.
I think this is a Jim Farley project.
Well, yeah, and I actually haven't met Jim personally. Jim, maybe we can meet one day. But
now you won't. At least I won't.
No. He comes across as a very approachable person.
Yes, he does.
A person who you can come up to, in a social setting very easily and actually approach and talk about. And he actually is passionate about what he's doing.
He loves cars. He loves racing.
Yes, he loves everything automotive. I mean, I just saw him in Moab, Utah, driving Broncos, over mountains and rocks and sand. So I can really appreciate that. Also, the Ford GT, right, the previous generation that just kind of wrapped up its...
The 500 GT or just the regular,
the
last generation?
No, the exotic GT.
Okay.
So, Cole, can you bring that up? Maybe just the Ford GT.
So you're talking about the last 2 generations.
The EcoBoost twin turbocharged sports car that just recently went away, like the yellow one or any one of these. So that car was also largely developed and built by Multimatic, right? So they have a relationship together with Multimatic. I totally get with the story you referenced, with the C4 ZR1 and it not being, in-house, so to speak. Like if somebody came in here into TFL and they made a truck video for TFL without me, I would be really pissed off too.
Yeah, you might be a little bent out of shape.
Yes, so I understand that completely. But it seems like Ford chose, instead of building the next GT, which I don't know what it could be, maybe it will fly by the time they're done, they chose to extend the Mustang into this area. It's as a halo car, okay? Because every brand needs a halo. The Ford Raptor is a truck halo for them. It's done really well for Ford to have a $115,000 Raptor R. And so I was looking at the GTD in a similar light. I was looking at it as their halo car that people, well, I don't think I will ever own one because I don't think I'll ever afford a car at this price, but something to aspire to.
So first of all, that's also another problem that I have with this car. You have to, I'm going to be a little crass here, but it's actually true. You have to beg Ford to sell you one. You have to get an allocation.
Oh, I don't like this.
Yeah, you're not.
This is what Ferrari is doing. This is what Porsche is doing.
You're not going to walk into a Ford dealership and buy a GTD.
Well, yeah, that's true because you have to be kind of approved by Ford in order to buy one.
And same thing with the GT. This has also happened. But this is not, and at that point, when you have to ask the manufacturer, or the word I used was beg, to buy a $450,000 car, it is no longer aspirational. It loses any halo effect because I know that even if I had, let's say I won the lottery, there's no way I could buy that car, at least not new from Ford, because I don't have the connections or I don't have the...
Well, not after this video.
No, I don't. We can't afford it anyway. It doesn't matter. But you see what I'm saying? The car has to be approachable. And at some point, I have to think to myself, for it to be a halo car, that this is a vehicle that I could own and I could look and I could see myself behind the wheel. I don't see myself behind the wheel of this car on the track or on the road because it's so unapproachable, because it's such an unobtainium vehicle that I don't think it fills that role of the halo car, which I think is a good point. You're right. Companies do need halo cars. I think Cadillac's kind of doing the same thing with the Celestiq.
Yes.
But that one, because it's electric and because of other reasons, is probably very gettable if you actually wanted one. This one, on the other hand, probably prints money for Ford because when you have to go and request to be able to buy a car, that to me suggests that there's a lot more demand, and that means that the price is a lot more elastic, and that's why we ended up with a Mustang that's now $450,000 when configured the right way. But that to me also undercuts the brand of Mustang, which has always been the people's muscle car. I'll give you another example of that. When Ford came out with their electric Mustang, the Mach-E,
yes,
I think a lot of people had no problems with it, but a lot of people were rubbed the wrong way, right? Because to them, the Mustang was never meant to be electric. It was always about the 8 cylinders under the hood. And so it kind of cuts both ways.
It had a different problem, the Mach-E, because it had 4 doors, not 2.
Good point.
There was another problem, because if you do have a strong brand like Mustang or Corvette, in theory, it signifies something, which is a sporty 2-door vehicle that you can enjoy, maybe a convertible also. We actually have a comment from Don Megahan here on Patreon, Roman, relating to this as well. But whenever you have that strong brand...
Why don't you read it? You can't just read it.
Yeah, whenever you have that strong brand, it's hard to bend it in another direction.
So what does Don have to say?
Don says, the GTD is only Mustang by name, okay? It's also a test bed since it's a halo car. Don't be surprised if some of the tech goes into the next-gen Mustang, but at a lot less cost. That's an interesting point, right? So the GTD has a supercharged V8, which is over 800 horsepower, right? So they have the suspension design that's very sophisticated, even though the car is heavy. Max Verstappen recently drove it, and I watched that video, and he was relatively impressed by it. At least it seemed like he was impressed. So maybe a lot of the carbon technology, a lot of the suspension technology, I kind of agree with Don here.
But
We could see that.
Can I make a point?
Yes.
How long ago was the previous GT unleashed on the world? It's like 10 years now, right?
Wasn't it 2016?
Yeah, like 10 years ago. About
like 8,
yeah.
9 years.
One of the key features of that car was active aero.
Yes.
So how much active aero is in the F-150?
Maybe the chin. You know the chin that deploys.
I know, but that's
active aero.
That's not from the GT. That's just something that all the manufacturers are doing. So I guess my point, Andre, is if that's kind of the publicity and company talking points that this stuff eventually makes its way down to regular cars. But where's the active aero from the GT in the current Mustang? Not the GTD in the current in any name active aero, not the chin spoiler. Active aero in terms of the way that it was designed for where it increases downforce or it increases braking. That's what active aero does in sports cars. Where is the active aero in any car you can go buy off the street in the Ford dealership?
Other than the chin spoiler.
Yeah, that's
aerodynamic device that improves fuel efficiency.
Right, but in the sports car, they don't care about fuel efficiency.
I know, but in truck world, we do care about fuel efficiency, and we do care about it in cars as well, in a lot of it.
But once again, it's apples and oranges here.
So I mean, no matter how, racing drives innovation. Would you agree? Racing. So when you have the lightest engines or the best materials or the most powerful engines and all the technologies, like the hybrid technologies in Formula One that is being developed to the nth degree. Hopefully, all of that stuff will trickle back down into the stuff we can buy.
Sounds like trickle down economics to me. I just don't buy that company line. Sorry, I'm just maybe a jaded journalist, but that's just I think an excuse that a lot of CEOs use to develop a bigger, better, faster toy than their competing CEO, and then they say, well, this will trickle down. I just don't see any of the technology in the GT actually trickling down to anything that Ford's building right now. I just don't. I haven't seen anything. If anything, it went the other way. The GT actually used the EcoBoost engine that was developed not for the GT, but was developed for the F-150 and for some other vehicles. So the technology actually went up instead of down.
Well, I don't know which way it went because I thought they explained the V6 because of the skinniness of the car, right, and the size of it, and they wanted to make the GT, aerodynamic and much more skinny.
But the engine, I'm saying it went up because the engine was there before the car was there. They didn't introduce the EcoBoost in the GT. Right, it wasn't
right.
It wasn't
right,
like,
right.
hey, we have a GT, and now guess what? It's got this new powertrain. It was, we have this powertrain, and we're going to put it. So the technology went from the mainstream to the sports car, not from the sports car to the mainstream. That would be my.
That's true.
All right, I think we're beating this to death. Let us know in the comments below what you agree, Cole. Yeah, thank you, Cole. Just stop us.
I think our producer is telling us to move forward.
Let's move forward. Let's keep going. So let's talk about something else. Completely different, Andre. We have a spy shot. One of our keen-eyed viewers caught this car. Look at that. What is that? Me and Zach spent the whole day scratching our heads trying to figure out what the heck that is. It is an SUV or a crossover.
It is I would say,
it's tallish.
First of all, it's tallish, it's boxy, it's all camouflaged except for the headlamps and some of the grille elements in this particular prototype. But dude, it looks amazing, and you guys figured it out. You finally know, we know what this is.
Yeah, Zach figured it out. I didn't figure it out. So this is, you want to tell him? Drum roll, please.
The 2028, we think, Mitsubishi Montero.
Montero.
That's right.
And if Nathan were here, he would be falling off his chair.
Nathan, where are you?
Where are you? We need you. I know you are.
No, we know where you are.
We know, but you're a huge Montero fan. He's actually owned Monteros.
Many Monteros.
All of which have overheated. No, not some of which have overheated. But this is interesting because Mitsubishi, let's face it, doesn't have a huge lineup of cars.
No.
In fact, I would say there is very few Mitsubishi models except for maybe, three? There's three?
Yes, but they're closely related. They are partnered with Nissan,
yes,
right, on a lot of their products. For example, the Rogue, the Nissan Rogue partnership that they have, and the technologies that they're sharing together. And I'm excited about this. You know why? Because in this image from the rear of the vehicle, you can kind of see the solid rear axle and that pumpkin hanging in the middle, right there. We are zooming in on it.
So you're saying this is body on frame?
Which could mean it's a solid rear axle. It could be body on frame, which could be truck based, which could be the next Frontier as well. They could share a lot of the components with the next
But more
midsize truck.
importantly, the next Xterra.
And the next Xterra,
Yeah.
Roman.
So what we're looking at potentially
Wow.
here is a Frontier-based platform that will underpin both the Montero and the Xterra. And let's talk about the Xterra for a second, because Mitsubishi's timing could not have been worse. Just when the overlanding / off-roading craze took off, they decided to kill the Xterra. And ever since then, I have been scratching my head, wondering why and how and what in God's name made them do that.
I don't know. I wasn't a preview to that, but I believe the last Nissan Xterra was 2015 model year, which is 10 years ago.
Yeah.
It's hard to believe. Remember, you and Nathan and I, we reviewed several Xterras. We love Xterras. They're really tough. They were affordable. They were easy to, just acquire and get.
I would say since that time, Toyota has sold 1 million 4Runners.
At least 1 million,
and that's because
maybe more.
Look, if you were around back then, it's not that long ago, but back
10
then,
years.
the 4Runner was still around. It was
Yes.
it was cranking.
Yes.
The Wrangler was around. The Bronco wasn't.
The Bronco, there was no even rumor of a new Bronco.
No, but what would happen is, of course, Toyota had a reputation for reliability, and so there was a premium even back then on a 4Runner. So if you couldn't quite swing a 4Runner, you could basically go to the value brand, which is Nissan, of course, and pick yourself up an Xterra, which had the very similar capabilities and some kind of unique stuff that the 4Runner didn't have. It had that, for instance, stadium seating, where if you were sitting in the second row, you could actually see over the heads of the first row.
Can we
people.
see the 2015 Xterra, Cole, if our producer will allow us to see it?
He'll allow us to see whatever we want.
Okay.
The other thing that the Xterra had, which is precious in my mind, is it had a dedicated and enthusiastic core of customers.
Mm-hmm.
So there were people who swore by Xterras to the extent that they would actually like brand Xterra by tattooing it on their bodies. There was a burgeoning aftermarket for Xterra parts that Nissan wasn't doing, but that people were doing.
Yeah, there's a shop, there was Toy Tech for Toyotas, and there was, Nissan Tech shop. They were modifying Xterras, Frontiers, and Titans, and it was all happy until they completely killed it.
And I have to say, I'm a big fan of the Xterra. I thought it was a better looking car than the 4Runner. I thought the 4Runner was kind of dull, but Xterra had some pretty interesting looks. And the other thing about it, of course, was that it was based on the Frontier at the time, and the Frontier has always been a very solid truck, which made the Xterra very off-road worthy.
Yeah, they have off-road versions, and then they renamed them Pro 4X. Pro 4X brand is still around right now, so I'm really psyched that we saw that prototype. By the way, if you can go back to that website, Cole, the images, I wanted to thank our viewer who sent them. Just not sure. Can you go back to the text?
You gotta go to the story and find out who
the
actually sent
story.
those to us. Yeah. So we'll thank our man or lady who was
Sean B.
Thank you, Sean.
Thank you, Sean. Really appreciate it.
I'm not sure I'm loving the Montero right now. It's got these kind of funky lights that.
It reminds me of the Nissan Leaf.
You think?
Doesn't it remind you? No, I mean, it's not swoopy, but the light signature.
Well, I like the fact that it's very upright. It's a little too slab-sided. It's got a little bit of that. And all cars are going this way. The newest BMWs. Do you remember when the Jaguar 00 project came out? Everybody hated it. The prototype.
You mean the concept?
Yeah, the concept.
Yes.
It's very slab-sided, and it's.
You mean it looks like an air conditioner? Is that what you mean?
Yeah, it's got this kind of cheese grate on the front. This has a lot of those aspects. It's very slab-sided. It's got that kind of cheese. Look at the cheese grating front on this, and now go back to the Montero.
I disagree.
Look at that. It's the same.
Sporty cars like Jaguars need to be stylish. SUVs, especially off-road body-on-frame SUVs, need to be square. They need to be rectangular. This prototype has all of that. It's squarish, it's slab-sided, it's rectangular, it's butch, it's attractive.
So I'm going to disagree with you, Andre, and I'll tell you why.
Why?
The same guy who did the Jaguar 00 concept also, or at least the same team, Jerry McGovern also penned the latest Defender, and that is anything but that. That to me is like you could take 3 boxes, typical 3-box or 2-box setup, right? 1 box on the bottom, 1 box on top where the people live, and then just it's very square, but there is not a lot of like intricate interest. Look at the sides; they're completely flat, completely slabby. The front, like I said, has a cheese grater look to it. Whereas if you look at a Defender, there's just a lot of visual interest, including the lights, including the way that it kind of goes back. And if I'll tell you, the reason I had a hard, I'm so grumpy today. I'm sorry, guys. I'm just.
It's okay. I'll ring him in.
Okay, you reel me in.
Go.
But the reason I had such a hard time with Zach figuring out what this Montero looks like is that there's nothing that says Montero in that to me. Nothing. Like they didn't.
Oh, you mean heritage?
Yes.
Heritage.
Yes. That Defender, even though it's much more modern, there are still cues that harken back to the previous Defender, the new one.
I agree that the new Defender has some heritage in it. But look at the new Defender. I could draw it with a ruler. I could put a ruler next to the side of it, and I can draw that box.
But
There's nothing more boxy than that.
Look at the wheel wells on it. Look how interesting the profile looks. Look how tall the greenhouse is compared to the body. And now go back to the new Montero, Cole, please.
First,
look how tall that slab side is.
You know why?
Why?
You know why? You're off-roading in Moab. You want to look out of your glass, of your windows.
Just the glass is smaller than the side of the vehicle.
No, it's still large. You know what we need to do? We need to wait until they debut this car without camouflage.
I like the hood. I like the dual bumps on the hood.
But look, behind the rear door, it kinks up, and then there's like a little bit of a hip in the back of this vehicle. You see what I'm saying?
I think we can agree.
I think
disagree.
Roman is once again wrong.
Okay, fair.
Folks.
I do like the hood. That's got a little. So I was just driving the new Porsche Macan, and the Porsche calls those wings because they harken back to the 911. Those kind of bulges on top.
Top of the hood.
Yeah, and I do like the bulges. That to me is the most interesting part of this. Obviously, with the camouflage, it's hard to get a good sense for it because the camouflage is designed to fool your eye. So maybe once they peel off the camouflage, there might.
I think
be a
we
lot
should
more.
wait.
Do you think that in that little under the grill, do you think that is a little slot for a winch?
It's hard to know. I'm not sure what that slot is.
Why would that slot be there? Why
Yeah,
else?
that's very peculiar, but it's not, I don't see a winch being in there. But we've seen other images of this prototype with an exhaust pipe. So this is not an all-electric vehicle.
Exactly, yeah.
So it needs to breathe. It has a large grill area. So it's actually probably has a large radiator behind it. So we think it may be a V6, maybe a twin-turbo V6 that they also have in their
well, if Nissan
Armadas.
sticks with the V6 that they have in the Frontier, it's going to be a V6.
Yeah, Frontier also has a V6,
yeah.
a different V6, exactly.
And actually, now that everybody has gone turbo in their mid-sized trucks, it's kind of nice to have a truck with a straight six, not straight, V6 that is just straight.
Naturally aspirated.
Yes. Thank you very much for clearing up my mumble jumble.
It's okay. I'm excited still. Let us know what you think in the comments below.
Xterra.
Yeah.
I think that Xterra could save Nissan.
I am hopeful. When first the Xterra by the way, Xterra rumors have been going on for decades.
Yeah.
But recent Xterra rumors suggested to me that it could be a small unibody, maybe electrified vehicle. And I thought it was the wrong way to do it. It has to be body on frame. It has to have the heritage of the Xterra. And this makes me hopeful that it's going to continue.
Well, this certainly doesn't have stadium seating, but wouldn't it be cool if the next Xterra, which Nissan has confirmed is coming, by the way, we're not speculating on that. Wouldn't that be cool if they actually did the stadium seating?
It would be amazing.
Yeah. And then actually came out with a good assortment of accessories that you could get with the vehicle. I think one of the biggest mistakes that manufacturers, OEMs made initially when the off-road world got crazy was that they left a lot of money on the table by not giving people a choice whether they want a winch or whether they want rock sliders or whether they want a rooftop tent. And I think Defender did a really good job of that by coming out with a full catalog of accessories. And I would hope that Nissan has learned that lesson, and maybe even Mitsubishi. So when this does come out, you can go and spec it and make it as off-road worthy as you want. Because that also to me says that the company cares about off-roading because they are offering these off-road bits and pieces as opposed to just making it look like an off-roader and figuring that people buy it just because it's got that off-road styling.
Can I be grumpy now?
Yeah, of course.
Can we move on to the next story, which makes me very grumpy?
All right, let's hear what your grumpy story is.
Okay. So this has been floating around for at least, a week or two.
No, this is so sad.
And Zach Butler, our car editor, wrote a story about this on TFLcar.com. So basically, the story is that the current Durango for 2026, it continues, right? So it's going to have several engines, 5.7 Hemi, which is great. Then it will also have the 392, the 6.4 liter Hemi, and also the Hellcat. And the Hellcat version, according to the story, according to what we hear from Stellantis, will not be sold in the 17 CARB, C-A-R-B states.
You know who's going to be happy about that?
Who?
The people who bought the first version that was supposed to be the last version, remember?
Oh, yes, the last call.
Yes.
The last call, people are ecstatic right now.
Yeah, they thought they were getting the last version of the Durango Hellcat.
But I'm not ecstatic.
I think that was 2 versions ago, by the way, 2 model years ago. So they'll be happy that at least some of the weasels in the CARB state won't be able to buy them.
So here's why I'm a bit upset by this, because there was a lot of resurgence of the V8 engines in Stellantis. Ram 1500 just got a V8, back, the Hemi, the 5.7 Hemi. And there is rumors about the, Hellcat TRX coming back, and actually more than rumor now, because the CEO of Stellantis said a V8 TRX is coming. There's also rumors of 392, 6.4 liter V8 Rams coming. There's also a rumor of a Jeep Gladiator 392 coming, with the V8 engine. And we live in Colorado, which follows CARB rules. So we're part of the 17 states.
So does that mean, let me ask you, this is what I'm thinking. If I want one of these, can I go buy it in Illinois, which isn't the CARB? I don't think it's a CARB. It could be. Or let's say Florida. I'm sure Florida is not a CARB state. I'm guessing at this, but I think I'm on
No,
solid
we don't
ground.
have to guess. We don't have to guess because we could read Zach's story. So the CARB states are California, Colorado, Connecticut, Delaware, Maine, Maryland, Massachusetts, Minnesota, Nevada. Nevada, that's surprising. New Jersey, New York. New York is a humongous populous state. Oregon, Pennsylvania, Rhode Island, Vermont, Virginia, and Washington.
All right, so I'm going to play devil's advocate. I can pop up to Cheyenne,
Yes.
which is less than 2 hours from here.
So how does that work?
Just pop up there and buy one and register it in Montana. How
Wait a minute. Well, that's true.
That's what Californians are doing. That's what they're all registering their supercars in Montana so they don't have to do smog and they don't have to pay taxes.
I'm aware of this.
Yes,
but I'm still upset that I'm not. This is not a popular vehicle, right? They're only going to make 1,000 of these engines, maybe.
Yeah.
I mean, this is a low production vehicle. Why can't enthusiasts pay extra money and buy them anywhere? I don't get it.
Because Andre, you don't deserve it. You're
No,
not. You're not worthy of the Hellcat Durango. You have to be.
No, I'm talking about I want the next TRX or the next Gladiator
Are you saying
V8.
that the next TRX won't be sold here as well?
Well, this is maybe suggesting.
It just seems silly. Like I said, if you really want one, pop up to Wyoming, pick one up, and register. It's once again, it's government being stupid, and instead of being there to help the people, they're there to hinder the people. Whenever I see government doing stupid stuff like this, I'm always on the other side of the issue because, even there was a law. This is an old story, but we'll just touch on it. In California, Leno's Law, they tried to pass a law for car enthusiasts,
Yes.
Basically saying that if you had a car that was
30 years old or something.
right? We have that same rule here. It's
Yeah.
1976, and it doesn't go forward. It's always 1976, where you
It's
don't
terrible.
have to have it smogged.
It's terrible.
And so the way people got around it is instead of getting it smogged in California, they would just go and form a corporation. Their companies would do that in Montana and then register in Montana, and then you all of a sudden take all this revenue that California could be getting and siphon it off into Montana. And then, of course, the way in California they solve that is now they're trying to crack down on it, and they make you prove that you live in California. So if you have a Montana plate on your car, but that's just one stupidity on top of another. You know?
I know.
It is. Just allow people to do what they want and tax them if you want to tax them, and you're going to make more money. And if you're worried about air quality, then use that money to clean up the air. Use it to do fire mitigation, because I promise you, these massive forest fires that are burning down half the West are causing a hell of a lot more pollution and causing a hell of a lot more carbon to be thrown into the air than any 1976 Gremlin.
Or a 2026 Durango.
Yes, because look, face it. What do people drive these Gremlins for? Right? They drive them to Cars and Coffee
And back.
and
home.
back. That's it. Yeah. If you're
10 miles a month,
exactly,
people drive these cars.
If they start and if they can get them into the road before they crap out on them. So come on, guys, just be real, be smart, and be considerate of your constituents.
Yeah, and I'm not advocating for a V8 engine in every Toyota RAV4.
I am.
I'm not.
Just put a V8 everything. Why not? Just do it. Look, the economy will sort that out, because the second gas goes to $5 a gallon, which it will at some point.
People will think twice.
People will think all of a sudden that Durango that is giving 12 mpg is going to become very, very, very much a liability.
All right, let's move on to other things that upset us.
Okay, we've got this whole list. This is a list of tech we think will not wear well over time.
No, it won't.
Yes.
It will make a lot of people grumpy.
Yeah, so we've come together with a giant list of technology and things, not just technology.
How much time do we have?
How much?
25 minutes.
That's about right. We got about 25 of these.
This is going to be a lightning round.
Yeah. So this is stuff that is going to wear out and it's going to look old long before it's time. So you want to start with your beeping Nissan / Infiniti story?
Actually, it's more than Nissan
All right.
or Infiniti. So a lot of cars beep a lot.
Uh-huh.
And I'm talking about little chimes, little warning sounds that they make. And I'm okay with seatbelts. I think seatbelt safety, reminding the driver and passengers to wear seatbelts, I'm all for that. That's really important. I'm for that. What I'm talking about beeping is, for example, in recent Nissan, especially like their SUVs, the big ones like Armada and even the QX80, I come home.
And the upcoming Xterra.
Could be Xterra, maybe.
Could be.
I come home, I put the vehicle into park, I shut off the engine, I open my driver door, and there's a chime beeping at me. Why?
I don't know. Why? Did you
It's
forget your key in your pocket or something?
No,
Did you
it
leave it in the
scares
car?
me. It scares me. Did I forget my headlamps? Are my lights on? Did I forget something about something? No, it's reminding me that I opened the door. I just opened the door. I know I opened the door. Why
Yeah.
Why does it have to remind me that I'm opening the door?
Well, can I add one on to that?
What?
When you're trying to do that because you're backing up and you're trying to see whether you're going to curb your wheels or not, and the car just slams you automatically into
Auto braking.
Yes. But it's not just gentle. It's not like, hey.
Oh, no.
It's like slam.
Yes.
You can't open the door and back up at the same time.
Yeah.
Why is that? Why can't I back up and open the door? Is that because that Hollywood guy died trying to do that with the Grand Cherokee? Was that what caused him to? Because that's why because I think he fell out of the car or somehow
It slipped out of park.
Yeah.
Yeah, that was an issue.
So is that why
Yeah.
now the rest of us can't back up and not curb our wheels? Is that where we're at?
I don't know exactly why, but I know what you're saying.
It's very, very dramatic and very disconcerting when a car does that. Every time it does that to me, I think I've hit somebody or something.
It just breaks clamping down automatically. I have a related item to that, actually. I have an item where we pull a lot of trailers.
Mm-hmm.
We've done 5 vehicles on the iGauntlet World Toughest Towing Test in the last 10 days.
Yes, we've been doing a lot of bikes.
And
coming soon to a TFL channel near you.
Well, we already published the expedition, right? And coming very, very soon, this weekend, we're going to have a 3-truck Ike, 1 video with 3 trucks.
So if you're listening to this on Friday, look forward to tomorrow.
Exactly. And also, Cole, our producer Cole, had to video and edit a lot of these, so he knows what we're talking about. Backing up a trailer, the vehicle's in tow haul mode, right? The wiring is connected. The lights are on in the trailer. I put it in reverse, bam, slams my brakes.
Yes.
Why? Because there's a trailer behind me?
Because some engineer thought that it was safer if it does that.
But I know there's a trailer behind me. I'm trying to back up with the trailer once again. I know this is configurable, but no matter what, like we have a long day, right? We film all day. We coming to the ranch to drop off the trailer. It's like 5 p.m. now. You're kind of tired, and all of a sudden you're backing up your trailer to put it in storage, and now it slams on your brakes, and now you have to struggle and turn off some menu item that's hidden 3 levels down.
Yeah, I agree. I hate anything. A lot of these things have this in common. I hate anything that basically has the computer try to outthink the driver, where it's doing something that it thinks is better for you than you think is better for doing it. And inevitably, there'll be a situation where whatever it's doing will actually be more dangerous in some ways and more unhelpful than helpful. All right, let's talk about screens. Obviously, way too many freaking screens. Mercedes tripled down with the hyper screen, but the one that really chafes me, or what do we boils our brakes? Or
boils our brakes.
The one that boils my brakes, Cole, is the passenger screen. I just did a review of what was the car that had the passenger screen? Was it the Leaf? Maybe the Leaf had the passenger screen. I don't understand why cars need passenger screens. I carry around a phone with me, and if I'm a passenger, this is the screen I'm going to be looking at. I promise you, Nissan and Porsche
and Ram
and Jeep. This is the screen I'm going to be looking at, the one I'm holding up in my hand, because this is the screen that I look at all the time as part of everyday life. I don't need to go and see how fast a car is going. Ferrari started that. I really don't need to see that, unless I guess
you could ask your driver.
I could ask, or I could nag the driver. You say, going too fast.
You say, honey, how fast are you going?
I could nag the, yeah. I don't need to control the navigation. I'm going to use Google to do that, or Waze. I don't need to program the music. If it's Cole with me in the car, I'll let him program the music because he's got excellent taste in music. So any of that stuff that screen is doing, I don't want. And the one thing that Ram does that I don't want it to do is, because there's a screen there, it reflects my big ass belly right into my face. So I'm sitting there, and every time I look down, I see basically just how fat I've gotten over the years, and I become very depressed, Ram. So even when the screen is off, it's making me sad.
Well, it's piano black.
It is.
It
exactly.
reflects everything.
Exactly. So turning it on is irritating, and turning it off is more irritating. Let's keep going down boiling my brakes. This has been in the news. Retractable door handles. God, Tesla is to blame. Why? And why does every freaking engineer have to copy Tesla? They're not. I'm sure the aero gains by retractable door handle or the stylish look of it is not worth the hassle of the damn thing, right?
So I was talking to Jen about this, right? So we were reviewing a Genesis, G90. This is now on most vehicles too. Infiniti has these door handles.
Andre, I just pray the trucks don't get them. Right now, the saving grace is the trucks don't have. Most trucks. Is there a truck? Rivian. Okay, Rivian. I think has
Rivian and Cybertruck has no door handles. Yeah,
electric trucks have them. That's why electric trucks aren't selling, Andre.
Exactly.
We put our finger on it.
Door handles
that retract. That stop. We have a Tesla. That's 10 years old now. By the way, it's for sale, $15,000. Ask a TFL truck if you want it. Info at TFL car. We just had it completely serviced. Just did a $2,500 service on it, because that's the way we are. We roll in such a way that we won't sell a car that is not. And by the way,
in top shape.
The seat still moves.
Wait, it has a ghost seat?
Yeah. So the heater didn't work, which is fixed now, which is, of course, something we need going into winter. But the seat also would start moving on its own, so you'd be driving along, and next thing you know, you'd be like...
Is this on our list, self-moving seats?
No, it's not. Okay. Next thing you know, your nose would be up against the windscreen because the seat was just retracting itself. And I took it in a Tesla, and I thought it was the little switch and the door and the chair track.
Yeah.
And, of course, they didn't believe me, and so they replaced the seat module in the car.
And it still does it?
And it does it even more. Now the little... Actually, they made it worse. Can you believe that? So when we took it in, the seat would move on its own, but then the little switch would actually, on the side of the seat, if you got your nose into the windscreen, you could push the seat back with the little switch.
Yeah.
Now you can't.
Is that switch gone?
It doesn't work anymore. So now not only does the seat move, But now the switch, it doesn't sound like a good way to sell the car. Yeah, I'm sure everybody's like putting their hands up. I want that.
Yeah, I
that
want
Model S.
I want the
Well,
self.
we're gonna go take it back to Tesla. I'm gonna chew them out.
Can you just disable that feature?
No, you can't disable it.
Okay.
But now you can't even put it back to where you need it to be. So if you're 6'2" or 6'3" like you are, Andre, you're gonna be driving it like you're 5'2" by the time you get to the airport.
Okay, so here's my final stance on retractable door handles. It seems like a good party trick when you first bought your Tesla or whatever, and you're showing your neighbor, and they're like, "Ooh, wow, your door handles just disappeared into the door." But other than that, ice, snow, mud, when mud goes over it.
Or if it stops working.
Or it stops working, or it traps you, or it squeezes your fingers accidentally, crushes your fingers accidentally. There's so many, or it wears out, right? Everything mechanical like that can wear out eventually.
It'll definitely wear out.
So eventually you'll spend more money fixing it. So
$2,500 on this Tesla.
what happened to a little metal part? You can go like this, boop, boop, and just move it.
I mean, a lot of this is reinventing the wheel, literally, and we'll get to that in a second. But there are things that have been, invented and tested ad nauseum because they work, and now we've gone away from that. Let's go to the next one. We just were doing this just in on the Volkswagen ID Buzz.
Yes.
Which is full of this thing, and that is haptic controls. Haptic controls, and if you really want to add insult to injury, put haptic controls and make them piano black. Because that way, not only do you not only that way
feel it,
can you not feel it or see it or control it, but it covers itself in the most obnoxious dust possible, which will never go away.
And it reflects light into your face.
Yeah, exactly. So haptic controls with piano black on top. Oh, you designers have just created the perfect storm of useless crap that you could stick in a car.
Yes, I agree. I mean, new manufacturers like Scout realize this, and thank goodness, because when we saw the Scout prototypes, right, Scout Terra truck, they have a lot of physical switches and buttons and knobs. Thank you.
Yeah. So,
I know they cost more money, right? I mean, because if you were to make every feature into its own button, mechanical button, then yes, it's not very expendable. It is costly.
I'm going to jump ahead on this, and you can
Yes.
get rid of it. Getting rid of light switches, which is something that both the GMC Canyon that we have has done, and now the Ford Expedition is also done.
Yes, several of them are doing this.
And they got rid of the light switch, which to me is just unthinkable because you need to be able to turn your headlights on if you're driving at night, and now those things are in the screen, and if your screen takes a dump, or for some reason if the computer decides that the lights don't need to be on, you only have one way to control it, and that is through the screen, which to me just seems like a problem that's asking for a fix.
So I can kind of see where manufacturers were going with the removing of the physical light switch, because automatic headlamps have been around for many, many years.
Yep.
Right? We're kind of used to automatic headlamps. When it gets dark, they come on. When it gets light, like going into a tunnel, coming out of the tunnel, or whatever have you, they work. And they figured, you know what, that works. Let's remove the physical switch. But what do we do? Once again, at a campsite, I need a light to see the campsite. I come up to the vehicle. There's no switch to pull. Now I have to power up the accessory on the vehicle and go into the screen and then change my lights. They just added several steps to what was just one button.
Yeah, once again, complexity for the sake of style or for the sake of bean counting, but not for the sake of the owner or the buyer of that vehicle. All right, next one on our list is ADAS. I'm going to keep this very simple. Just get rid of ADAS until we have literally level 5 driving, because it's just confusing. You have these different levels of ADAS. Just stands for the automatic driver assistance systems, which can and probably do save lives. But every time I get in one and all that ADAS stuff is enabled, it drives me absolutely crazy. In other words, when it tries to pull the steering wheel out of my hand because I've mistakenly crossed a line.
Or not mistakenly. How about what is an issue we face while going to the ranch? Bicyclists on the side of a very narrow highway. I have to cross yellow line or a
And in
white line
Colorado, you
a
can't.
lot.
It's legal. You got to give them 3 feet. So
Yes, by law, you have to give a bicyclist on the side of the highway at least 3 feet, right?
Yes.
So what do? You're crossing lines.
even when there's a full yellow line,
Yes.
you are allowed to cross it
Yes.
in that circumstance. But if your ADAS is on, either your seat's going to vibrate if you're a GM vehicle,
It bings and dings.
or it's going to try to yank the wheel out of your hands. Just any of that. The worst offender we don't have, but we might get, and that is when it dings at you when you exceed the speed limit. There are numerous instances where it's easy to exceed the speed limit, either not, and I'm not talking about trying to be speedy racer here. I'm talking about safety reasons.
Or passing somebody or doing something.
Until you have full autonomy, let me drive the car. Either because humans are really good at either driving or not driving. What we're not good at is this in-between thing where we sit there and monitor the vehicle and pretend like we're actually paying attention. When, let's face it, Andre, even with Blue Cruise or Super Cruise or full self-driving, how long before your mind wanders off?
It can, but Ford won't allow your mind to wander because every 20 seconds after you,
It just nags at you.
it bings and dings.
And then the other thing that is next on our list, which is probably the one that is the most egregious of all of these, is powered vents. Oh my God, I hate powered vents. One of the things that you don't realize is just how often you actually go and change the vents. It's not like you set it and forget it. The sun comes out and all of a sudden you get hot, so you move the vent. Cloud comes over, you get cold, you move the vent, and every time you have to go in, it's like the power door handle, same problem. Every time you have to go in and fuss with it, it just becomes freaking annoying.
It's also motorized.
Yes.
But we had this debate before, Roman, because I kind of understood where powered vents come from. It's like, a mom and she may have, or a dad, they may have a child or 2 children in the back, and they want to control the climate into entire vehicle all at once. And a powered vent system allows you to direct air.
I've never seen powered vents in the second row.
No, but you're going from the side to the windshield. You can select all of that digitally in the center screen. So I think that's a cool idea.
I think you've pulled a solution out of your you-know-what, Andre.
I'm just trying to give them a little bit of a prop here.
I appreciate you standing up to the manufacturers, but that one came out of somewhere that we shall not discuss. Let's talk about destination fees, Andre, and talk about what happened with the Expedition. So we had an Expedition at the office for, as they would say, on test, Andre. It was on test here. The highbrow journalists and YouTubers say on test. It was on test.
Okay.
It wasn't on loan. It was on test. So we had an Expedition on test, and it had a destination fee that was $1,900 or $1,995.
That was like 6 months ago.
That was not. It was 2 weeks ago.
I know, but it wasn't 1995 2 weeks ago.
No,
it was,
but the Monroney basically said it was $1,900 destination fee, which is ridiculous because you can, let's say,
it's not negotiable.
It's not negotiable, and let's say you can get a BMW from Europe for like $1,300. So these numbers are just made up numbers that the manufacturer is using to increase the cost of the vehicle at this point, and not actually put it into the real cost of the vehicle where it should be. Anyway, so this was $1,900, but you being a very thorough and very thoughtful journalist.
I was doing my research.
You did your research, and by the time we actually got the car, you went on their website, and how much had that destination increased by?
$2,595.
So $400 basically.
Well,
or $500.
Yes.
Either $400 or $500. It went up
a lot of dollars.
Yeah.
Yes.
And that is non-negotiable.
And it wasn't just the Expedition. I checked the F-150, same thing. Super Duty, same thing.
It's just a way of sneaking in more profit or more fees that you can't negotiate and you can't do anything about. And there's already enough of those shenanigans happening at most dealers or many dealers without the manufacturers adding to it. It just creates a feeling that cars, when you buy them, have to be negotiated. And it's like when you get on an airplane, right? If you realize that the person next to you paid a completely different amount of money, it just kind of irks you. And I kind of feel that way about a car. That's why I've been an Apple guy ever since I was in college. But I like the fact that when I go in the Apple store, the price is the price. And you're buying
and no matter which store you enter, it's the same price.
Yeah, and you're buying that, let's say you're buying the new iPhone, you're going to pay the same price. Sure, you might get a discount through your your provider or something. But for the most part, it's the same price. And in the car dealership, it could be whatever the salesman, how the manager feels that day, which way the wind is blowing from, and they just feel like it ends up making you feel like a sucker, like you're a mark or you're being somehow cheated, even if you're not, and that's the problem. Anyway, let's keep going. How about run flat tires or lack of a spare or the wrong spare?
There's a lot of subjects here.
Yeah, so run flat, people hate, we know that. Lack of a spare tire, that little blow-up kit. But the most interesting one is happening in trucks. Let's talk about the wrong spare. What does that mean?
So I had a truck, Chevy Colorado Trail Boss, right? It came with really aggressive, because I spec'd it out with these DuraTrack Territory MT tires. These are Goodyears. They're very beefy. They have big lugs, right? They're very aggressive. They help you go off-road. And then you go underneath the truck to look at the spare tire, which is there. And it's just a street tire. It's completely different from my other tires.
Yeah, and if you're on the trail and you get a flat and all of a sudden you've got 3 off-road tires.
And 1 non-off-road tire.
If I'm on Red Cone and I have to go through the rock garden, I promise you I do not want to do that on a street tire because the chances of me blowing out the sidewall or puncturing it with a pointy rock are pretty significant, which makes that spare tire sort of useless.
Yeah, and I've seen this over again. Like, we recently had the Ram Warlock.
Yeah.
Same thing. Had the DuraTrack's very aggressive tires on the outside, and then kind of an all-season tire underneath.
Yeah, this was the cool thing about trucks. The manufacturers understood the trucks were work tools, and they didn't tend to play these shenanigans, but now they're playing the shenanigans with pickup trucks as well.
And you know what also irks me? Like the latest electric trucks from GM. The Sierra 84 EV, Silverado EV Trail Boss. They're very beefy tires, right? They're 35s on them, but they have no spare whatsoever because it doesn't fit underneath, right? These big tires are hard to kind of place inside of a vehicle sometimes. They don't have spares.
Yeah, I know. It's crazy.
Yeah.
So I'm going to put these next two together. Login screens and pay-per-view or play-per-view stuff. So login screens are insidious. Ostensibly, the manufacturer says, hey, if you log into the vehicle, it'll remember your seating position, it'll remember your temperature, it'll remember your favorite radio stations, yada, yada, yada.
That's nice.
It'll also remember where you're driving, and it will also share that information at a cost to you, but at profit to the manufacturer with whatever person wants to know whatever you're up to when you get in that car. It's just insidious, and it's just... cars to me always represented freedom. So do trucks. And now, not only is the manufacturer tracking me, but they're selling that information. And
that is not cool.
And let's say that you've got...
That's more than not cool.
No, let's say that you've got some kind of a medical condition, and all of a sudden, next thing you know, hey, do you have cancer? Right? How does your phone know that you have cancer? Unless, of course, the car is tracking that you go to a local cancer clinic. I'm not saying that this is something that's being done, but I suspect it is. I suspect this is where it's heading. And then the other thing Toyota does is the pay-per-view stuff. In other words, pay-per-view. So
everybody now does this.
If you want to unlock all the features of the car, whether it's more horsepower or whether it's
maybe remote start or something like that,
or maybe it's like a satellite radio or
Blue Cruise.
Blue Cruise
is a subscription. Super Cruise.
Super Cruise is a subscription. What's the other one? Satellite radio, the one that GM does, the safety thing.
Oh, OnStar?
OnStar, yeah, where it notifies people in case of a crash, or like Toyota does this in their system. If you want to actually have all of the use of all of the car's IP, if you want to have full use of I think in Toyota's navigation. Make it native. You can always have navigation on your phone, but if you don't want to use it on your phone, if you want the native system, you got to pay for it.
Yeah.
Come on, guys. The car's already, the average cost of the car is already $50,000. Do you really need to now penny, nickel and dime us so that we pay extra for some other things? It's just crazy. Just crazy. It's embarrassing, and it makes car companies. If you're listening to me, anybody, it makes you look like like your cheap uncle.
So here's the way to solve this. I have a solution.
Yeah.
Just for this item. I hate subscriptions because I think all of us pay for many different subscriptions, like our producer Cole, to watch a football game.
Oh, yeah, much.
You have to pay 3 different providers
Cole
for
was
that.
saying he has to pay 3 different providers to watch all the football games.
I know, but there's a solution for cars and trucks. Create enthusiast items For example, for me, I love, we tow trailers all the time, and a lot of the vehicles don't provide a lot of the, gauges that are required by me to monitor the truck. Just charge me another $100, not a subscription, but a one-time fee, and give me more gauges. I'll pay for that. That's
Sure,
the way for that.
But there are people saying that they'll pay for native Google Android apps, right? And there are people saying that they'll pay for Blue Cruise. So there's always somebody who's willing to pay. And from a manufacturer point of view, if you're willing to pay for this, then there are probably other people willing to pay for it. Here's the real solution. This is the answer, Andre.
What?
The answer is build a freaking cheap truck or car, like Slate, maybe, I don't know. And then if you want to go and say, hey, you want navigation, or you want ADAS, or you want more horsepower,
retractable door handles,
then charge me for it. At that point, if I'm paying $20,000 for a Slate, I'm like, hell yeah, okay, I can it's kind of like Spirit Airlines or Frontier. it kind of makes sense. If I'm paying $14.99 to fly to Fort Lauderdale, then I'm probably going to pay $100 to bring my bags on board and $15 for a Coke. I understand that. I understand low cost airlines, and I understand that if you're paying nothing for the car or very little, then maybe you have to make up that somewhere else. But don't charge me $50,000. Don't charge me premium pricing
or $80,000.
And it's like I said, it's like your cheap uncle. Like he brings you lunch, and by the way, where's the 20 you owe me? All right. This is also another way that makes car makers look cheap. Non-powered passenger seats.
What's wrong with that?
Because I feel like if I'm a passenger, I'm a second-class citizen. It's so often that the driver has full passenger electric controls. But the driver is the second-class poor citizen who has
the other way. Yeah.
So the passenger gets non-powered seats, whereas the driver gets all of the luxuries. Why not just put it in both seats? Come on, don't cheap out.
But you're saving weight, you're saving cost. Like if I'm okay with that. Simplicity. I can move my own seat.
I feel like I'm a bad host. I feel like you get in my car, Andre, and I sit in the car and I'm like, and I retract the seat. I move my lumbar support. I got that 800 way thing, and I'm so comfortable. And then like, hey, Andre, just reach underneath there between your legs and slide back and forth, and then reach behind you, and you may feel a lever where you can actually recline or decline the seats.
Yeah.
Well, I'm like.
I can't see the message. Can you see Brian's message over there?
Can you give us Brian's message, please?
No, it's on the screen. It's being blocked by the camera.
Oh, I see.
Can you read it? Or
you can make me put on my glasses. Now you can make me feel old. Hold on.
Okay.
I'll get to
okay, Brian. Thank you. I got it.
Okay. All right.
Brian, 100% agree that dealers' actions make me feel dirty, and like I don't want to deal with them. Excellent point, Roman.
Thank you, Brian. Appreciate it.
Brian agrees with you. I'm with Roman on the powered passenger seat. Once again.
Yeah, and then how about this one? How about when they cheap out on the lumbar? I have a bad back, and lumbar to me is so critical, especially on any trip over, let's say, an hour. And I hate when they just decide, like, how much can a lumbar, even like the European manual ones. Remember once upon a time, Andre, you were a Volkswagen guy once upon a time. Volkswagen would do this. So they would,
like a little lever.
A little lever on the inside of the seat, not the outside.
Yes.
And you would just push it forward, and it would push out the lumbar.
Boom. Done.
How expensive can that be?
I don't know.
I hate it when I get in the seat. And actually, the i8 that we own, which is a very $150,000 car, no lumbar.
Really?
Yeah.
I think they were mindful about weight, cost.
That could be weight. That one actually could be weight.
Well, because it's a hybrid, it's a kind of a high-strung car.
It was like their moonshot. So that's
like
a
moonshot.
Sending a rocket to the moon. You're probably
lumbar support.
You're probably going to be a little weary of added weight. All right, let's finish this up. So here's one of the biggest ones that I absolutely hate. And then when I get in the car and I see this, I just want to walk out. Non-round steering wheels.
Yeah, I agree. Why do we have to have either squircles or little
pentagons or yokes?
Little yokes to steer with.
Yeah, I don't know. Why reinvent the wheel? And speaking of reinvent the wheel, how about the ever-changing shift/knob/lever/rotary knob/stock/button for engaging transmissions? Just pick one and stick with it.
You know what I used to like and I still love?
What's that?
And a lot of new vehicles also have this column shift.
Sure, like a
just go down for drive, up for reverse, up for park.
Hey, Brian, thanks for all the comments. He's got some more.
Yeah, I agree. I also have a bad back. Brian, you should do this podcast.
Yes, come and do it. You can do the grumpy podcast for us.
Manufacturers that make them really worthwhile. Yeah.
And here's the scary part. We're all done with this list. I came up with this list in like 5 minutes. I didn't have to actually use a lot of brain power on this list. That's how easy this was, because over the last, let's say, 5 to 10 years, manufacturers have decided they're going to reinvent everything, and I blame Tesla for this, because Tesla, came along and completely rethought what a car is. It took it from it took it from a car to mobility. It took it from kind of car centric to tech centric. And now all the other manufacturers are following suit. And there's still a lot
they
of
saw their stock price. Everybody saw Tesla's
that.
stock price, and they're like, why can't we be like them?
So are you saying that GM's going to start building robots?
Maybe, yeah.
All right,
Yeah.
I'll end on this trivia before we close. The word robot, where did the word come from? It's near and dear to my heart. I'll give you a clue. And it's the same word for the same thing everywhere in the country, in the world as well. So it's not just in America, but it's robot is robot in Spanish and English. I don't know if it's robot in Chinese, I'm guessing, but it came from one place. And you guys have to name where the word robot came from. And like I say, it's near and dear to my heart. So that's a hint.
Robot is robot in Russian.
Yeah, exactly.
Yes.
Yeah. Is it robot in Spanish?
Hello?
Hello? Anybody out there? Cole, do you know Spanish? By the way, Cole is from Oregon. You can't get a Hellcat Durango either, so... Oh, you're one of the Carb State people too. I know. Were you planning on getting rid of that RAV4?
Yeah, a couple of them.
Yeah, he's going to get a couple. Yeah,
So-
invest in it while you can.
So please comment, what is the origin of the word robot?
Yeah, why is it the same everywhere?
Or
in the world?
robotics, right?
Yeah.
Just the word robot.
Yeah. All right, guys, thank you for watching and listening. If you want to watch this, feel free to head on over to TFL Talk. That's our podcast channel. Andre, thank you for sitting in for Tommy today. I'm really grateful that you had the time to do this.
You're welcome, yes.
And thank you guys for watching. And remember, where should they go if they want to see all of our... Actually, before we do that, why don't we tell them what videos are being published this weekend, because we got a bunch of great stuff coming out this weekend. I love your video. So why don't you tell them about the 3-truck comparison?
We're trying to figure out what is the best V8 brand new pickup truck with a V8 engine for towing. So we're comparing a GM V8 5.3, Hemi 5.7, and Ford 5.0 Coyote engine. So one video that's coming this weekend. Then on Up the Ike Gauntlet. Then on Off-Road Channel, our colleague Case, he's actually with Tommy
Yes.
on the Toyota program.
8x8.
He drives an 8x8 Man Cat. This is a military truck from Germany. He drives it. It's a pretty awesome video.
It's not a hybrid human that's half man, half cat?
No.
That would be more interesting in some ways.
So, there's a company called MAN, M-A-N. But then they built military trucks, and they were called
with Caterpillar.
No.
Okay, so
but they called them Category 1.
oh, so that's where the cat.
So
comes from.
they shortened the category. They said, "How about we call them Man Cats?"
Okay.
I don't know why.
Now-
But this is amazing.
Yeah, and now on our classics channel, I have a sickness. We have this auction here in Denver called the Donated Car Auction, where people basically donate cars to their favorite charities. Let's say you have a favorite charity that you like to support. A lot of people
But
do.
also like unwanted cars.
Yeah, a lot of people do that with their local radio and national public radio stations. Is it NPR? Yeah, stations. And then, of course, those radio stations either take them to the junkyard and they get whatever junkyard pays for them, or they take them to this donated car auction. And usually the donated cars, a lot of them aren't actually bad. They're just either unwanted or a way
Or maybe
to raise
something
money.
broke that was too expensive to fix or something like that.
So you can get screaming bargains. Actually, Tommy got his Land Rover at this auction.
And he still drives it.
It still drives it. Yeah, it's called the Peak Auto. I shouldn't be telling people because they're going to go to it and they're going
No,
to drive up
it
prices.
doesn't exist.
Doesn't
This
exist.
auction
It's
doesn't
a
exist.
mystery. The donated car auction. The Peak. It's Peak donated car auction. It's Peak, right?
Peak Auto Auction. Yeah.
Donated car. Yeah, because there's a bunch of. Most of them are basically.
Actually, a lot of states have peak auto auctions.
Yeah, so most of these are like wreckers and
Towing companies.
toys companies who
Yes.
basically sell the cars that they either tow back to their yard and then the people don't want them or
Yeah.
they are wrecked. A lot of them are, but these are actually real cars that have real titles that mostly run. So I picked up, get this, I picked up the only Italian Cadillac. And you guys know what that is?
No. Brian is already commenting about robot. Brian, thank you very much.
What did he say? Did he get it?
I think you got it.
Well, tell
Brian,
Yeah.
can we send him our challenge coin?
Yeah, we'll send you a challenge coin. You got it,
Brian.
Brian.
Can you please email ask@tfltruck.com?
We can look up his address in the Patreon. He's a Patreon.
Okay, you're a Patreon
We'll
supporter.
send you a challenge coin, a TFL challenge coin.
Also, Sean D says he's guessing the Cadillac.
Okay.
Alante.
Yep, you got it.
You got it, Sean.
So Sean, we will send you a sticker because that was an easy one. But what did Brian say? We got to give him the answer. What did he say about the?
The term robot, he says, originated from a Czech word.
Who's Czech in this room?
Robota.
Yes, very good. It's a Czech word.
Yes. Okay.
Yeah. Take that, Mr. Russian. It's the Czechs who came up with that word.
I'm not going to argue with this right now.
Yeah. So we have these challenge coins. They're cool. Andre made them. Thank you very much. And Brian, we'll send you one of those. I think your address is in Patreon. And then Sean, did he get the Alante right? You said?
Yeah, he did.
All right. Congratulations. Yeah, just shoot us an email, guys, just to be on the safe side. Yeah, because I don't know if we have it. So, Sean, you can send it to info@TFLcar.
Or ask@tfltruck.com.
Yeah, both of those,
Yes.
and we'll send you that as a thank you for participating in this podcast.
Yeah.
And if you guys want to join us, please head on over to patreon.com/tflcar.com where you can become part of the team and you get early access to videos. You get early access to unusual and interesting content that we don't publish anywhere else. And you get, of course, this podcast, and you get the grateful support and thanks of a team that really appreciates that you guys are helping us.
We do.
Pay the bills.
Because it's not getting any easier, my friend.
It's not. It's getting harder.
No.
It's not getting any easier. So
that
that's
video is coming,
up
right?
on
The
Classics.
Cadillac?
Yeah. So we bought an Alante, and that video is coming up on Classics. So we've got the truck video, we got the off-road video, we got the Classics video. I think that's it.
That's plenty of
What's
videos.
a truck podcast? There's a truck podcast too that's publishing. What did you guys talk about with Case?
We weren't that grumpy. I mean, we were a little grumpy.
The Grumpy Podcast. We should call this the Grumpy Podcast. Cole, remember that.
But we talked about really coolest trucks, pickup trucks that we can't have.
Oh.
So trucks that are sold in other markets, mainly Australia. So our friends in Australia, you're quite lucky. You do have some really cool stuff over there. That we can't get, and we're quite upset by this.
So if you're a Patreon, you've probably already listened to it or you have access to it.
Well, we had no.
That's right.
We had a technical
We
difficulty.
had an equipment failure, didn't
Yes, we had something fail, but thanks to your support on patreon.com, we will be able to, we're fixing it. We fixed it.
we? Well, yeah, we bought a new piece of equipment.
Yes. It's a box.
It's a box. It's a $200 box. That Zach bought that we didn't have to pay for. So thank you, Zach, as well for being so conscientious. All right. We'll see you next time. Ciao.